Hey guys, Mary here for GameSpot's The Mix at E3 2015. I'm here with Sam Abbott.
Hello.
Thanks for being here from Compulsion Games.
Hey, well, thanks for having us.
And you're going to show me a game that I think is absolutely fascinating. It's just like the concept that's just something I've never heard of before. It's called We Happy Few.
It is.
All right, I want to get right into it, and you explain a little bit about what you're trying to do here.
Sure. So, We Happy Few is a game. It's a survival roguelike style game, but it's first person, which is what you can see right now. It's set in an alternate version of the 1960s, in an alternative version of England in the southwest. And what's happened is that something in the past has gone horribly wrong with this society. They basically got invaded during World War II. The Germans steamrolled over England because for various reasons. But something bad happened while they were there. And as a way of coping with it, the society invented a drug. They invented a drug called joy.
Okay.
And they're a society that just desperately wants to be happy. Absolutely everything in the world revolves around happiness, including taking this drug called joy. Now, the joy makes you very, very happy. It makes you really content. You're not really worried about a lot of things, except, of course, for the people who aren't happy.
Okay.
Because they threaten to break you out from your kind of delusional mindset. And,
by killing you.
Well, yeah, I mean, they kind of kill you, but they also don't. They really just want you to take your joy. So they knock you out and they force feed you with joy. And the problem with joy is that it makes you forget everything. So every time you lose, you die, we actually regenerate the entire world around you.
Okay.
So it's a procedurally generated world. This is what we're looking at right now.
It's absolutely stunning. I mean, in terms of this type of game, I had no idea how beautiful the world would actually be. It's really wonderful, and you get a little bit of a BioShock vibe from it. It's just incredibly eerie. You know something's wrong, and it's got a little bit of a post-apocalyptic thing going on here too. So
Yep.
It's a pretty dark environment. Why don't you tell me a little bit? Actually, I'm really interested in that inventory system.
Okay.
Just see what just happened there. Can I look at that inventory system?
So yeah, basically you run around and
Is
you
that me
collect
on the
a whole
right?
bunch of stuff. That is you right
I'm a
now.
sad man.
You are a sad, slightly worried man because
Okay.
everybody is out to get you. Yep. So you run around, you collect a whole bunch of things. We just actually had a joy pill, which you can see raised our little purple meter down on the bottom left-hand corner. And the AI in the game, they respond differently to you depending on how much joy you have in your system.
Okay.
So how drugged you are, basically.
All right. It's more drugged. What does that entail? They're
Well,
happier with me when
they're
I'm
happier with you,
pumped full
yeah.
of drugs?
Absolutely. But of course, because you're pumped full of drugs, things probably aren't that good for you. So
Okay.
you have serious consequences for taking any of the drugs. So one of the survival aspects of the game, and now you're in trouble.
Oh, no.
You
She
stole
doesn't
her
like you.
food. She is a very sad lady.
Take
who-
her out. Is
Take
this
her-
how we get
you
happiness?
are bloodthirsty. My gosh.
It's either
she is
me or her.
She is a poor,
Oh.
sad woman, and we have just terribly beaten her in her house. No, she is one of these people that we call a wastrel.
Okay.
So joy did not work on her. She's one of the people on
picked
the
her up.
outside of the story. Yeah, well, we don't want anyone else to find her body, right? They'll get very, very grumpy.
She'll be safe up there in that
She'll
corner.
be safe. She'll be fine. She's just resting. It says corpse, but I'm sure she's just fine.
So we got some food from her. Is that what we took?
We got some food. I think it might have been rotten, so it's probably not a good idea to
All right.
eat it.
We could risk it if we're really hungry.
We could. We're probably not going to because we actually haven't put food poisoning cure into the game yet, so that's probably not the best thing.
We're going with the old rock.
Yep. But what we need to do is we need to get through this gate over here.
Okay.
But this gate is basically saying, hey, are you on your medicine today? And we've got a very polite little lady. I'm going to push her out of the way. We're going to jump into our joy detector, which
It didn't bother her.
if you've ever taken a flight, you may be aware of machines like this.
Oh my gosh.
But the problem is he's not on his joy, so he's going to be
Invasive.
in a lot of trouble. Yeah, so he's pissed off the
Okay,
the
so you
police
running
and the
or-
people. So he's running, but he's going to have to run because he's going to die. Like, he's bleeding. He's been tagged as a downer. A
Okay.
downer is someone that's not on their joy, which is basically saying you are not a fun person.
You're like the lame person at the party.
Exactly. So he is
Of
running.
death.
He is running. One thing he might be able to do is he might be able to find a joy booth. A joy booth is basically a place where you can get joy if you need to. Oh no, he died.
Oh no.
So now we start again
Or from scratch.
from scratch.
Okay.
So that's permadeath right there.
Permadeath, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the good thing about procedural generation is that when you do these things again and again and again, you get to just play it again as if it was the first time, because everything feels new.
That's right. So you can't just learn exactly where everything is in the world. You have to understand how the game works. And the more you learn, obviously, the better you'll get in the game, and eventually you'll be able to escape.
So even though it's procedural, though, we were going to end up going through that bridge, right? Like that's kind of a forced area that you're going to have to go through to continue the story.
That's absolutely right.
Okay.
It's one of the ways that we make the game harder as you go along, as we kind of control the areas, adjust the difficulty based on where we think you'll be at that stage. Yeah.
And how long is the whole gameplay at this stage? Because if it is permadeath, I mean, you're going to be constantly playing this beginning, or are there any, like, how long do you keep going before you actually
solve
it or learn how to be happy forever?
Right now in the game, I mean, it's about an hour and a half.
Okay.
You can complete the game within that. But we're aiming for around about 3 hours or so.
Right, and what's fantastic about this is that even though when you do successfully complete it, because of the because it's procedurally generated, you can play it again and try to figure out a different way, almost in like the new Metal Gear kind of style way. Like, how else can I solve this?
Exactly. So you've got a bunch of different things that work with that. You've got different gameplay styles. You can run around. You can hit everybody with your branch that he's got right there. So you can get weapons. You can fight through. You can stealth through and try and avoid everybody. But I think the most interesting part of gameplay is what we call social blending, which is really all about conformity. So if you're not being suspicious, these guys won't bother you. Well, actually, these guys will. He's going to have to run.
I feel like when I played this, there was no way I could blend in. I couldn't find a way for them to not hate my guts. And I tried really hard to look cool, and nobody was having it.
Well, part of the problem is that this is still very early in our development, right? So this is pre-alpha, and we just made this biome that you're in right now. We just made that like 4 weeks ago.
All right.
So all these wastrels running around, they are really new to the game, and so they hate everybody. But once you get past that bridge, you get into the part of town we call the village.
Okay.
And that's where the people really start to pay attention to what you're doing or not. They don't just run after you. So if G over there can actually manage to get into the village, we'd be able to... He's struggling to get the right kinds of things. He needs to craft a lockpick so he can open the door.
Right. So, but there is like full crafting in this game.
Absolutely.
Which will come in later. Do you end up getting better weapons besides a branch?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can get like a really hard branch.
All right.
Yeah, like
combine it with other elements.
Yes.
Like
put two branches together and make a super branch. Yeah. No, we have a bunch of weapons in the game right now, but they're all really early stages. So we've got like pipes, and we've got a cricket bat, which is particularly enjoyable.
Do they take damage? Do your
yes,
weapons break?
Yes, they do. Yep. So durability system. So you've got to be really careful about when you get into combat and when you don't, because you don't really want to be fighting in this game unless you absolutely have to.
Okay, so there's a lot of survival in this as well. Like, because there's food, apparently I can get hungry. It looks like I can.
Absolutely.
And I eventually will lose health. What about you? Must have like some kind of bandage system for when I'm bleeding.
Yep. So right now, you can heal yourself. I don't think G has got anything that he can craft yet, but this is our crafting system. So there are basic weapons. There are gadgets that you can use to distract or incapacitate people. There are food and drink, but the key thing is that the water throughout the city is mostly drugged with joy.
Okay.
And if you take too much joy, you will actually overdose. So you have to find clean, safe ways of eating and drinking. So the game is about, sure, you can get food, but is it the right kind of food that you want?
There's getting like such a dark element of life to this, where it's like you gotta figure out how to take some drugs, but not too many drugs.
Yeah. It's kind of a mockery of the whole prescription drug culture thing that we have going on. And it's like you can take any kind of drug for any kind of problem that you have, but obviously there's always a side effect, right?
Yeah.
That's what the game's about. Memory, hangovers, things like that.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for showing me We Happy Few. I think this is going to be like really amazing. I'm looking forward to when it comes out. And when is that?
We're actually in the middle of a Kickstarter right now,
okay.
So we are fairly far away from the game coming out. But
any good incentives for backers?
Oh, there's a few.
Oh, yeah?
You can actually get access to the game as soon as the Kickstarter ends through a pre-alpha tier.
Okay.
So you can start playing right away and watch us develop the game. That's pretty cool. And then there are a whole bunch of other things that you can do to get inside the game if you want to.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That was We Happy Few. You can check it out now. The Kickstarter is currently ongoing. And for all your E3 news and everything else game related, be sure to head to GameSpot.com.